They're like, let's do a biopsy on your lungs. And I'm like, biopsy?
Right. How old are you again?
At this point, I am 26. The nurse practitioner brings me back and she's like, she sits me down. She's like, okay, Mr. Vaughn, we got the results back. And I'm sad to let you know that it came back cancerous.
I got a whole life. I got this, I got that going on, getting married, and then you've been diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, ma'am.
How's your mom and dad and everybody taking all of this? How is everybody?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm just like, how is everybody emotionally with you at this moment?
At this moment in time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Kamisha Whitaker-Moore, and tonight we have honestly a special episode. I think so. Tonight I'm sitting down with a young black man, young black entrepreneur. We're going to talk about how he stared cancer in the face and lived to tell his story. We're going to talk about, it's not about just how he survived, but honestly about the transformation from then to now, his faith, his love for God, and honestly just recognizing all the things that God did for him and how he delivered him, and honestly to do what he's doing today. So without further ado, I want to introduce my speaker or my guest on tonight, Anthony Vaughn.
Hey.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for being here. I know that you and I hit and missed. You told me a little bit of your story. I remember when we first started working together, I remember a scream. I was brand new to the whole facility, and then we were all working in the same building. And then I heard this scream, and it was the lady that worked with us, and she said, Anthony called me and said that he was cancer-free. I remember that. I feel like I remember that before I even met you. So take us back. Take us back to your story and how things went for you.
Okay. So let's go all the way back.
Okay.
2017.
Okay.
2017, I was about 25 at that point.
Okay.
2017. I was sick off and on that entire year. And for me, how it normally works is I'm very allergic. I'm allergic to the world, trees, grass, the air outside. I'm allergic to everything. So that was normal for me. So I'm used to going through that process and just kind of moving forward. But this year, it lasted a little bit longer. And the way I normally do things is I wait to the last minute to go. I have to be down bad before I go to the doctor, which I don't recommend that for anybody out there. Please go to the doctor.
For sure.
But so it was just one evening, I had chest pains. When you have chest pains, that's when it really gets serious. I had chest pains and I was just like, okay. I was talking to my fiance at the time. I said, no, actually we weren't even fiance at the time. She was my girlfriend at the time. I was like, I gotta go to the doctor. This chest pain, this shortness of breath, this is too much. So I went with her. I went with her mom and her dad at the time, and did the test, did the X-rays, did everything because they were just trying to figure out what's going on. The doctor comes back and he's like, "Okay, Mr. Vaughn, this is negative. That's negative. This is negative as well. But you have pneumonia." And I was like, "Okay, pneumonia." I haven't had pneumonia in years. Yeah. Okay. What's the next step? And he's like, we're going to have to put you in the hospital. Yeah. And like my jaw dropped at that time. And I'm just like, I feel bad, but I don't feel hospital.
Right.
Hospital
bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, we go to the hospital. I think I spent 4 days in the hospital.
Yeah.
4 days. And this was my first time being hospitalized, period. Besides day surgeries, different things like that. And it was a terrible experience. I've been in the hospital with family members, but it's different when you're the one in the bed.
Yeah, for sure.
Different. Sleeping was terrible.
Yes.
The whole thing. But my family was with me the entire time.
Great support system.
Oh my gosh. Like sometimes you go to the hospital and there's people in the rooms all by themselves. But I'm just grateful to have a family that was supporting me with me. My girlfriend was with me through the whole thing. It was great. So I get better, they give me the fluids and all that. It was nothing crazy. They just had to flush it dry and, make it good. So I get out another year goes by. So now we're in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
2018 was rough. This is where it really all started.
Gotcha.
So I get sick. I get very sick again.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the doctor. I go to urgent care and they tell me I have pneumonia again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, hold on. Pneumonia 2 years in a row? Like,
right.
How often does people really get pneumonia?
Right. How common is that? Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. You're not an old man.
Exactly.
Right, I got it.
And that's what the doctor was telling me. Like, people don't, especially not your age, don't get pneumonia that often.
Right.
So, they give me the medicines and, a few weeks go by. Mm-hmm. I start to feel a little bit better, but it's not 100%.
Right.
I still have the chest pains. I still have the coughing. I still have a lot of things going on. So I go back to the doctor. Mm-hmm. They look at me, do the x-rays again, and they give me some more medication. And we go through another 2 weeks. I still feel bad. Mm. And they do it all again. They scan it and they're like, okay, well, let's try this. I get another round.
So they're still seeing what they're thinking is pneumonia.
Exactly.
2 weeks later, after all these antibiotics.
Yes.
No one the wiser, just pneumonia.
Just pneumonia.
Okay.
And so they just give me some more medicine and I kind of start to feel better, but not really.
Right.
And they're like, okay, we see that the pneumonia is gone, so we're not really sure what's going on. Maybe you should go see a PCP. Mm-hmm. And of course, I should have had a PCP this whole time. I get that. But at that time, I wasn't really going to the doctor like that. So, but I find a doctor in town and I go. They send all my information over. He checks it. He does another scan. And he's like, okay, I'm not seeing much difference. You don't have pneumonia anymore, but I'm still, it's cloudy. Yeah. It's a little cloudy. So he gives me some more medication. And I start to feel better, after 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. But the scans don't really show that I'm feeling better.
Right.
So he's like, Mr. Vaughn, I'm glad you're feeling better, but I still want to get a second opinion. I want to take this further. We need to look into this more deeply because we need to figure out what the root cause of this is.
Right.
Because this is 2 years in a row that you had pneumonia, and there's no way this should have lasted as long as it did.
Right.
So, and I thank God for that doctor.
Right.
Because he did not have to go the extra mile.
True.
He could have just left it there. And I just thank God that God sent me to him and he was the one that took, handled it.
Yeah.
So he sends me to, it was a lung specialist because, of course it was dealing with my lungs. Mm-hmm. And they look at it, they look at all the scans and different things like that. And they're like, okay, Mr. Vaughn, let's put you on this medication. Let's just see if there's any difference. Mm-hmm. So I do this medication for about a week. There's not really much of a difference. And they're like, let's do a biopsy on your lungs. Mm. And I'm like, biopsy?
Right. How old are you again?
At this point, I am 26, 27.
Okay. And then we're thinking biopsy. Then that's scary by itself because, that's something, we're going to be cutting something from a lung. Mm-hmm. How are you going to get to my lungs?
Exactly. Right. I'm thinking you're about to open my chest up.
Yes.
How major of a surgery is this?
Right.
I'm telling you, at this point, I'm a little scared, but they assure me that, okay, this is just going to be a day surgery. Mm-hmm. We're going to go through your throat. Mm-hmm. We're going to cut off a piece of your lung and we're just going to, send it off.
So how's your mom and dad and everybody taking all of this? How is everybody?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm just like, how is everybody emotionally with you at this moment?
At this moment in time, of course, my family, we're all believers.
Right.
We have huge faith. And of course, when you go to a specialist and then they're like, let's do a biopsy, alarms go off.
For sure.
For sure. And they're like asking questions. Well, why this? Why that? What's going on? Do you think it's this? Do you think it's that? And this entire time, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. We just need to do this so we can figure out what's going on. It's nothing major.
Right.
But I do want to figure out what's going on.
Right.
So we can get rid of this.
Right.
So it gets scheduled. Of course, everybody's with me for the appointment. Everybody, they're with me. We pray, and I go in, come out. It's like instant. Like they knock me out, and I'm back to it. Okay, so I want to say maybe a week or two goes by, and I don't remember the exact day, but I do remember that this day my wife had to go to Little Rock for her appointment. Mm-hmm. She has to go quarterly, and this is just something that she couldn't avoid. So she was gone with her mom. They were in Little Rock. And during this whole time, I'm still feeling bad off and on. So I'm working from home here and there. So I do thank God for the job that I had at the time as well, because they allowed me the days that I was feeling horrible to work from home.
Gotcha.
Because there were some days I woke up and it was just like, I can't really breathe, or it was just this huge tightness. So it fueled me even more to want to go and figure what's going on.
Sure.
So I get a call from the specialist, and they're like, Mr. Vaughn, we want you to come in. We're going to go over the results, and the doctor wants to talk to you as well. Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. I call everybody, let them know, hey, I'm going up here. I'm going to get these results. I'm fine going along. Let's just figure out what's going on, and I'll let you know.
Right.
So I get there, and the nurse practitioner brings me back, and she's like, she sits me down. She's like, okay, Mr. Vaughn, we got the results back. And I'm sad to let you know that it came back cancerous. I'm telling you, like,
what was going through your mind, Anthony, at that moment?
At this very moment, I'm not even gonna lie. At this very moment, at that very moment, I was like, I wasn't down. It didn't hit me hard or anything. It was just like, oh, okay, a word? Like cancer? Okay. But I was like, it's gonna be okay. You know, I got faith. God's got me. This is not like, God didn't bring me this far to leave me right here.
Right.
So, and that's how I responded to her, because she was actually visibly sad.
Right.
Like, I had gone up there so much, like the nursing staff, they were like, they were so empathetic with me. Like she was crying actually when she heard, and she had to break it to me. And she was like, so I'm going to bring in the doctor just to let you know. Typically when the doctors bring, they're going to let you have it. They're going to tell you the full extent. You know, it could be this, you could have to do that. So just be prepared. And I was like, okay, just give me some time. Let me call my wife, or she was my girlfriend at the time. So I call her. No, at this time I had already proposed. So she was my fiance at that time. So I called my fiance. I'm like, hey baby, this was hard. This was the hard part for me. Man, I'm about to start crying. I had to tell her, hey baby, they told me it came back and it was cancerous. And all she could say was, okay. And I could hear it in her voice. Like she didn't know what to say.
Of course not.
Like you said, what do you say? And I could hear it in her voice as time went on. She was crying, but she was trying to hold back. She was trying to be strong for me.
Right.
She was just saying, okay. So the doctor comes in. I have them on speakerphone, and he's telling us. And man, he has to tell you, prepare for the worst.
Yes.
When he said that, prepare for the worst, something in me just like, man, like really? Like, do you really have to say? I'm assuming that they just have to let you know the extent of it, but prepare for the worst. And, he goes through, the next steps, what we have to do from there. And, we're just all like, we have faith. Let's just get this over with.
Right.
And this is in November. I was diagnosed in November, and we had a cruise planned in December. And also our wedding date is the following March.
Right.
So literally 5 months I'm planning to get married.
Right.
And I'm getting diagnosed with cancer. So I hang up. I'm telling my wife and my mom, like, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And when I get to the car, like, I was strong all the way till I got to the car. When I got to the car, I broke. Yeah. I broke down.
What were you thinking when you made it to your car?
When I made it to the car, it was a whole host of emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was, I'm about to get married soon.
Yeah.
Why now?
Yeah.
And then I had the brief moment of, why me?
Yeah.
It just happened. Sure. It just came. I had no control over it. It just came. Why me? But as soon as I said it, why not you? Yeah. It bounced. It was like a reflected, just bounced right back at me. Why not you? Yeah. I was also thinking, okay, I got to tell my dad. My dad lost a son when he was 8 years old. I was barely born. Yeah. He lost his son to leukemia. Gotcha. And I'm like, I got to tell my dad, like, his only other son. Yeah. Man, his only other son has cancer now. Yeah. Goodness. I got to tell my mom. I got to call my mom. Yeah. I got to let my pastor know. I gotta let all these people know. So I'm like, okay, I gotta straighten up. I gotta straighten up before I call these people.
Yeah.
So I called my parents. I'm like, hey, mama, they told me it was cancerous. Oh my gosh.
Oh I can only imagine.
Oh my gosh.
I can only imagine.
And I could tell, she was shaking, but she was being strong on the phone for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her. I told her. I had her tell my siblings, and all the texts started to come. I texted my pastor, and I kind of just sat there for a little bit, just kind of thinking, just kind of
disbelief.
Like, really, is this really happening right now?
Yeah.
Like me, like I'm so young,
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
we got a whole life. I got this, I got that going on.
Mm-hmm.
Getting married, and then you've been diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, ma'am.
That's I can't even imagine. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Absolutely. And for the audience out there, at this time I had dreads. My dreads came down to probably my shoulder blade. And so I'm also thinking that I'm about to lose my hair.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've had this hair for so long, I'm about to lose my hair too.
Yeah.
And it's just, what am I gonna do? How is this process gonna work? Am I gonna have to do chemo? Am I gonna have to do what am I gonna have to do? But I ended up telling the doctors, hey, give me some time. Let me go on my cruise first.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how this stuff is gonna affect me. So we go on our cruise, have a ton of fun.
Gotcha.
So that's in December. So in January, that's when we start chemo.
So on this cruise that you went on, you guys are having tons of fun. In the back of your mind, were you still thinking about this diagnosis?
In the back of my mind.
You were?
Absolutely.
How did that even affect like your cruise or you or like, your attitude and different things like that? How did it even affect it? Or did you kind of, every time you thought about it, you just kind of pushed it down a little bit further away? It
was a mixture of that, and I tried my hardest not to think about it, but of course it's in the back of my mind. Like, after I get back from this cruise in a few weeks, I'm going to have to go to Little Rock to, start this process up.
Yeah.
So it was just like, but I said, okay, I don't know how this process is going to go. I don't know how it's going to affect me. So let me live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Let me enjoy this the best I can. Oh, man. So I did. I had a lot of fun on that cruise. Yeah. A lot of smiles, a lot of laughs, a lot of good memories, a lot of pictures taken. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I did have fun for sure. Cause I think right before we went to the cruise, I had to go get what's called a PET scan, where they do the full body, So that's when they showed me how it was on my lungs.
Yeah.
I had two separate giant spots on my left lung, and then one huge spot on my right lung.
Never smoked.
Never smoked.
Never did any of that stuff.
Never. Until this day, I've never smoked. And so I'm just thinking, like, how do I have lung cancer?
Yeah.
How do I have lung cancer?
You hear me? And then Sally been smoking about 25, 30, 40 years.
Healthy. Athlete's lungs.
Absolutely.
And so they show us that, and we end up going on the cruise. So in January, like the first week in January, maybe the second week, that's when we arrive at UAMS in Little Rock. So I meet the cancer doctor, my oncologist. He was amazing. I still go see him for checkups and stuff. Yeah. He was amazing. He explained it. He gave us different options that we could go with. And at this point, he was like, I see your hair. Don't worry. The one that we're giving you, you have a low chance of losing your hair. Because that was one of the first questions we asked.
Yeah, for sure. With those dreads. I know that's right.
So we go through that process, ask all the questions, and he was like, let's get you scheduled as soon as possible because we don't know how long it's been there. Yeah. We don't really know how aggressive it is. We're going to give you 2 different types of chemo, and you're going to come twice a week. And we're going to do this once a month for 6 months is what he told me. And we're going to see how it goes, and then we're going to reevaluate at the end of that 6 months. So I go home, we plan this out. I let my job know, hey, I don't know how this is going to affect me, so I'm probably going to be in and out. So we come back, and, it's the day. It's a long day because it's the first day. It's a long day.
Yeah.
I was probably there from like 6 a.m. to like 5 p.m. And, you know, they do the blood draw first, but they put IV in.
Yeah.
That IV hurt. It hurt so bad.
I'm sure.
Because I didn't want to do the port. So they had to do it in a way, you know, where they IV'd me, basically. Yeah. I was like, I'm not doing the port because I'm not keeping that on my chest. Absolutely not.
Totally understand that.
So we get the IV in. I go upstairs. We actually got a private room for this first one. And they go over the process. And they're like, okay, we don't know how it's going to affect you, so we're going to give you Benadryl. We're going to inject you with Benadryl. And I'm like, oh, you're going to inject me with liquid Benadryl? Oh, okay. So she puts the Benadryl in. And man.
Knock you out?
Instantly. It was maybe a second. I felt it. It was like my entire body just like a wave went over my, and I was just like, I was like, what is going on? And me, I guess it's a man thing. Yeah. I'm fighting it.
Yeah. And everybody does.
I'm just fighting it. And eventually I ended up going to sleep.
Right.
But I think the infusion lasted for 6 hours because they wanted to go slow because they didn't know how it was going to affect my body. Right. So they did that. And then I don't remember if we went home or if we got a hotel because I had to come back the next day for a smaller one. So we did that. That went well as well. They had to inject me with the Benadryl again. I hate that experience. I never want to go through it again.
Totally understand.
So so they had to put this little in timed injection type thing on my stomach. And it's like a delayed, it injects you with something that kind of increases your white blood count because the chemo drops it.
Right.
So the next day that happens and it injects and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, I feel good. Right. I feel good. I was like, okay, I was thinking that I was going to feel terrible from chemo. Like, this is a walk in the park.
Right.
The next day it hits.
Gotcha.
The next morning, I get up and, oh man. So to this point, I had never thrown up in my life, a day in my life. I had never thrown up. But I woke up this morning nauseous.
Right.
Nauseous. I had to go straight to the bed. I threw up twice that morning, I want to say. And it was before my wife had to go to work. And the pain that was in my body.
Yeah.
It's as if it took all my previous injuries and just reminded me, hey, we still here?
Yeah, for sure.
There was in my back, it was like my back just spasmed to a point where I raised up out the bed. Like it was just like constant. I was just constantly jumping.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going? I've never felt pain that bad in my life. I've never felt that nauseous in my life. I was probably like that for 2 days. 2 days, it was like in and out, off and on. Yeah. I was taking medicine to try to deal with the nausea, and it was the worst. And after probably 2 weeks or so, I was good. I was back on my feet. I was able to move again. But I still remember, I don't know if I went to church that Sunday because since all your white counts is lowered, they don't want you to really be around people. Right. I had, of course, I had the mask on, but I still went to church. I really wasn't telling a lot of people at this time. Only like my close family members, of course, my job had to know, but I wasn't telling people. But I remember being in the back of the church, and I stood up during worship to worship. Right. And I remember clapping my hands, and I could feel it go through my entire body, through my bones. My bones hurt. It was like my bones were shaking every time I clapped. And I was just like, Lord, I thank you. Because even though I'm going through this, even though I'm feeling like this, I'm still able to praise you.
Yes.
So Lord, I thank you. That was one of those moments for me. Like, it was just like, Lord, I thank you for sure. But
and this time, did you were at church, you were worshiping, clapping your hands, you're feeling all the pain, all the things. Did you ever, say while you were there at church worshiping, did you ever question God while you were there at church worshiping? Did you question him?
At this time, no.
Gotcha.
After the first day where I was diagnosed, I never questioned him from then on.
Gotcha.
It was just, Lord, I thank you. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like, Lord, I thank you for allowing me to go through this process. Lord, I thank you because I know you're going to get the glory after all of this.
Yes.
Like, Lord, I thank you because, yes, I'm young, but you're using me.
Yes.
Because in the little area, in the hospital area, I was the youngest person there.
Yeah.
So I was always getting looks like I still had all my hair. And I imagine all those people were like, what's going on? Like,
Right.
why are you here? Why are you the one with the armband on? Because
Right.
the people with the armbands are the ones seeing the doctor.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Right.
So I was just I knew that God was using me for something.
Yes.
I was like, after this, I'm gonna be able to tell my story, and there's gonna be people that's gonna go through this as well. So I just praised them. I'm not gonna say that I didn't feel terrible. I didn't get down. I didn't get depressed here and there, but I didn't question God anymore.
Gotcha.
And let me tell you, there were some days that I got down because I couldn't do the things that I normally did.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't move the way, I didn't feel the way I normally did. And I lost a ton of weight during this process because I couldn't eat. That was, my wife told me that was the skinniest I've been since we've been together.
Yeah.
I had lost probably 40, 50 pounds during that whole process. And I looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
And something that they also do is they give you the Boost nutritional drink.
Yeah.
And because it, has all the vitamins, the nutrition's in it. And I had already drunk that in my past because I already didn't eat. I'm a super picky eater.
Right.
So that helps me still.
Yeah.
But yeah, that helped me drinking the Boost and, just trying to stay hydrated. But I had moments where I was down and just depressed and my wife, looking back during those moments, I thought she was being mean.
Yeah.
But looking back now, I'm like, wow, she really held me down. She really pushed me to keep going.
Yeah.
And like my mom or her mom and me, we were all like, why are you being so mean?
Yeah.
Like he going through this process. And she'd be like, no, that's not how it's gonna be. You're not gonna stay down. Like you gotta push through this for us, for yourself.
Yeah, it's okay to feel that way, but I'm gonna need you to get up and come on.
That's exactly how
Totally
she told me.
understand that.
You can't stay in that place.
Right.
So yeah, of course I'm feeling bad during this process, and I'm going back and forth to get the infusions. As time went on, the infusion times got shorter because my body could handle it.
Gotcha.
The Benadryl feeling never went away.
Gotcha.
People don't inject Benadryl into your body. It's horrible. Absolutely. But so around 3 months, I believe we do this. No, we do the scan every month, but around 3 months, we do the scan again. And he's like, okay. He's looking at it and he's like, okay. It's looking better.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna get to the end of this and we're gonna reevaluate then. Of course, chemo does things to you. So, I'm in and out of work. So my finances is looking funny.
Yeah.
So like during these whole 6 months, it's tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't have the finances, the at the 3 month part was my wedding.
Yeah.
And I really couldn't provide and assist with that the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't working. I didn't have any. So that was also something that was hitting me as well.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be marrying this woman, but she's having to take care of it. I'm supposed to be the provider.
Right.
But I thank God for her because she stuck by me during that whole process. Because I always tell her, like, you didn't have to, once I was diagnosed, you didn't have to stay.
Yeah.
Like, of course, she's like, I'm not a terrible person, but like still like just looking towards the future, like at any point I could be gone.
Yeah.
We don't know how long this is gonna go. We don't know how this is gonna affect my body. You're not married to me yet. You don't have to stick around.
Right.
But she did.
Did you try to push her away?
I didn't, but I did tell, I always kept that thought in the back of my head.
Yeah.
She could leave.
Yeah.
If she wanted to. I wouldn't blame her, is what I told myself.
I got you.
But it was like she got closer to me during that whole process. She stuck with me. She pulled me and pushed me. She was the 90% to my 10.
Yeah.
For sure during that whole process. And we got married. Pictures looked great.
Yeah.
Still had my hair in the pictures and everything. And it didn't even look like I was going through that.
Yeah.
I want to say 90% of the people in the audience had no idea I was dealing with cancer.
Gotcha.
And there was actually a point in my vows where I mentioned that, and that's what broke my wife up there. She started crying.
Yeah.
I didn't mention cancer, but I said something along the lines of when the doctor broke unimaginable news.
Yeah.
And that's when she lost it because she
sure.
knew, and I also wanted to shout out. There's so many people I could shout out during this process, but I had a homeboy that was, he had no idea, but we would be on the game every day. Every day. He had no idea, him and some other friends, but they kept me laughing during this whole process because the people that knew, they were always asking me, are you okay?
Yes.
So it's after a while that gets old, you know, and I get it, you checking on me, but I want you to treat me normally.
Yeah.
Like,
we can't.
Yeah.
We can't. Because honestly, it's just like the person that we love, we care about, they're going through something. We want to make sure that you okay. We can't push you like we used to push you or whatever the case may be. Nobody but your wife.
Right.
So, you know, we want to make sure that you're good. And I know that works people's nerves, but that's just, I don't know. I just feel like that's just something that we all do.
Absolutely.
At one point in time when it comes to like feelings and, you know, health and different things like that. But I totally understand that. Your parents, though, your family, your sisters, your mom, your dad, what was going on with them?
Man, they were so supportive. Because even the times that I want to say my wife went to every appointment, but they tried to come whenever they could.
Yeah.
My dad would come cut my grass for me. They were just so supportive. Yeah. Anytime they could bring me food, anytime they could come take me anywhere. And they lived 30 to 45 minutes away from me at this time. And they were still there. They were still showing up. They were still coming to appointments, making sure that I was okay. Just driving me places when my wife couldn't do it. They were there.
What about your dad? How was he feeling when his only son was diagnosed with cancer? He sees him emotionally sometimes kind of break down,
right?
Physically, because you can't do all the things that you used to do. And then you know he took it really hard. And now here you are. He's trying to be strong for you, but then in his mind, you know there was a war zone.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So how did he show that, or did he show nothing but I got you? You know, did he show like I'm kind of fighting back and forth in my mind and my heart because I know how I felt before. I don't want to feel this again, but yet and still I'm feeling it because I see my son. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So how is your dad with all of this?
So my dad is not emotionless.
Yeah. But
the back that I always watched growing up was just this strong individual that nothing really fazed him.
Yeah.
Growing up, I only saw my dad cry one time, and that's when his mom passed away.
Yeah. And
it was a tear, but he was like, I got to be strong for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I know, like you said, it was a war zone for him in his mind. This is my only living son. Don't take my only living son.
Sure.
You know, even to this day, he'll tell me, Anthony, you're the only son I got.
Yeah.
But during this time, he was just strong for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how he was because he only would come around, you know, to help with things, and then he would kind of, you know, step back and stuff like that. But I know that he probably had some times where he sat somewhere away from everybody else and, you know, cried and prayed. Yeah. I know it.
Of course.
I know it because of those prayers from everybody around me, I'm still here.
That's right. It said the prayers of the righteous availeth much.
So I know it was a war zone for him for sure. Absolutely. I want to sit down and talk to him about it one day. I just haven't gotten around to it because I don't. When I see my parents or just people in close to me cry, that's when I start to. Yeah, it's like I feel it. I'm not ready for that just yet.
I totally understand that. It's hard watching you cry and then I not cry, and because I'm telling myself, no, don't do it, don't do it. Because honestly, you're my friend. And once you go through things, you know, your heart goes out to people too. And so you're here and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I never knew half of the story, but I know who you are and who you are to me. And then knowing that you went through all of these emotions and all of this stuff definitely gets me emotional. And then I'm like, I don't want to cry because I'm like, girl, no. So I totally understand that too. You know what I'm saying? I get that. I get that part. Family, your wife, everybody. So it's just the love that we have for you. That's all.
Yeah.
I keep interrupting. Go ahead, Anthony.
No, you're fine. Because like you said, like I just really, there was some points where I didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, when somebody hadn't seen you in a while, they want to ask you questions.
Of course.
And I during that whole process, I understood. it's just, that's what I wanted. I didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
But he was right there with me. And like I said, I had a few other friends, but he's the one that really stuck out in the moment that I'm talking about, because one, he didn't know, and some of his friends didn't know. So we just kept laughing.
Yeah.
And it was just like they were cracking jokes, and it was just normal. I felt normal at this time. Any other time I didn't really feel normal. I felt this thing was weighing on me. But during this time, it was like a burden was lifted off of me. So I always thank them for that. Because like they always talk about when you're going through a thing, but you're still uplifting people.
Yes.
So there was points where I was uplifting him while I was going through a thing.
Right.
So I know it was nothing but God.
For sure.
And it's just moments like that that's always come back into my remembrance of how good God has been to me. And but yeah, we were always on the game and having a good time. There was always friends and family members and uncles and aunts. There was always, I have an uncle. He was going through cancer at the same time I was going through, or he had. So he was always calling me and texting me and giving me advice. There was so much love and support.
Good.
People always brought food to the house. They always checked in. They always called Keela or somebody and asked about me. So it was, it showed how people really cared.
Yeah.
They really did. My job, my coworkers, they always checked on me. It was awesome.
That's good.
It was awesome. And a lot of people don't have that in the job.
No, absolutely not. You're right about that part.
And a lot of people don't.
For sure.
So, of course, after the, we'll fast forward to the close to the end of the 6 months. I want to say month 4. Let's go to month 4.
Okay.
We do a scan, and the doctor's like, honestly, it's cleared up.
Yeah.
Like you're one of my healthiest patients right now, but we still want to keep going.
Right.
Just to be sure we're going to finish this all the way out.
Gotcha.
So I want to say that I was healed at month.
You hear me? God
about month
already
3.
Healed. Yes.
Honestly. So we get to the 6 months, and we do my last one. I come back probably a month later and do like a scan, the CT or CAT scan, one of the scans, and he's like, okay, pretty much all dormant.
Yeah.
But I would like to do like upkeep chemo infusions.
Right.
But it's your choice. And I said no. I said absolutely not. I'm done. I'm not going through this anymore.
Yeah.
You said my scans are good. You said I'm in remission.
Mm-hmm.
God says I'm healed. I'm done.
Amen.
When I see you again, I'm just gonna do my quarterly scan, and it's gonna still be good. Everything's still gonna be dormant. I come back in like 2 or 3 months later. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's when he told me I was in remission. I called my job. That's when you heard the scream.
Yes, I remember that scream.
My boss
came up there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I called everybody. Everybody was just praising God. It was awesome. I am sad that I never got a chance to ring the bell.
Yeah.
But I didn't care. I was just trying to get up out of there.
You hear me? You were like, Lord, I thank you. You did what you needed to do.
Lord,
now I'm going to walk on through.
I come back for the quarterly scan again. And he said, hey, everything's good, man. You are good. I don't see any growth or anything. You are good, man. Like,
how did that make you feel?
Oh my goodness. I was just like you said in the beginning, thanks to God, I really stared cancer in the face.
Yeah.
And came out on the other side.
You did.
Not a lot of people can say that.
No.
Not a lot of people can say that. When people hear the word cancer, they think death.
Yes. And they give up.
They give up immediately. So many people. And I came out on the other side. I still had my hair, which was crazy to me. Still had it. And I was just like, I just couldn't do anything but praise God. Yeah, like, wow. Like, you just came out on the other side of cancer, bro. Yeah. Like, so anytime I hit these down patches, I think back to that. Like, God brought you through cancer. Yeah. He can bring you through this.
Yes.
And another moment that God brings to my remembrance is a few years later, somebody else close to us was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And they was able to come to me and get advice on the process. And so I was like, okay, this is one of the reasons, God. This is
Yeah.
You wanted to get the glory, but you also wanted me to be here to provide my knowledge to somebody else, to help them get through it, to learn about the different resources, to learn about the different processes, how long it takes. Just, man, it's just
using you as a witness.
Absolutely. And
basically.
it's been quite a few people actually that have come to me. Once they've been diagnosed, they'll ask me like, Anthony, I know you've been through this. You've gone through this. Since you made it through to the other side, I know that God can bring me to the other side.
For sure.
He's constantly using me to gain glory.
Yeah.
And Lord, I thank you.
That part, I was a while back, a couple of Sundays ago, we were talking about God is changing your story, how God changed so many stories in the Bible, like the lady who touched the hem of his garment, how he healed her, how he just did so many things and how he changed stories. And so here's one story, but then he flipped that story and you came out on top. So definitely a story to pass on, to give people, to help someone. In the meantime and in between times, the whole purpose of this was for God to get the glory.
Absolutely.
Man, go ahead, Anthony. I'm listening.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much the end of it, really.
Yeah.
I made it like in 6 months. Because some people go through chemotherapy for way longer than that.
Yeah.
I only went, in all honesty, I was healed in probably three to four.
Yeah.
I was good in 3 to 4. In 6 months.
Yeah.
Remission, healed. One of my pastors tells me, stop saying that you're in remission and start saying that you are healed.
Yes.
You are delivered. You are set free.
That part. Because God definitely healed you. He
Absolutely.
healed you. I know I had an aunt, this was years ago. She had lung cancer too, was not a smoker, nothing. But she lost her battle to lung cancer, and then here you are telling a story how, you came through. God brought you all the way through. He held your hand, walked you down, did all the things and brought you on the other side of all of that to be a testimony to somebody, to be a positive light to somebody, which is an amazing story because you're right. A lot of people don't get to tell that story, but God healed you. He changed all the things.
Yes, ma'am.
You hear me? Because sometimes we could be so negative. We could just, like, Lord, why me? And then we want to be angry with God. But God is the only thing that can definitely help you and heal you. So why are we angry at him? Let's just do what we need to do and keep it moving. Because God is good, I'm telling you, all the time.
All the time.
And all the time. God is good. Amen. You hear me? So I know that we are at the end of our podcast. You told your story. I don't even want to mess that up. But of course, we leave a positive to everything. Always, always, always. Tell that person, that young man, that young woman that's going through the same thing you went through, that's fighting cancer, fighting those depression demons, fighting all that, questioning God about why me and all of this. Tell them or leave them with the positive in how God, or whatever you want to say to them, just leave them with the positive on today.
Absolutely. Oftentimes when we're going through a thing, when we're in the storm, we can't see the purpose or the reason why we're going through it. Like while you're in it, you just can't see it. You can't even fathom it. And sometimes you can't even see 2 steps in front of you.
Right.
But one thing that I always tell myself, especially when I can't see the path in front of me, is just take 1 step.
Yeah.
Start with 1 step. Baby steps into giant strides. It's a quote from a show that I watched back in the day. It says, baby steps into giant strides. And then after a while, you'll realize after all those baby steps, oh man, I came a mighty long way.
Yeah.
You look back and you say, I started way back there, but I just focused on 1 step at a time. Because you can't worry about what's way up there. Just put 1 foot in front of the other and just keep moving forward and just keep the faith. Continue to pray. Continue to praise God. Continue to go to church. Continue to just move forward.
Yeah.
And I want to honestly say it's okay to question him, because through that doubt, he can still get all the glory.
Yeah.
Just keep going, keep pushing, keep moving forward. And there is a purpose. You might not be able to see it right now. There is a reason, and God's going to get the glory. And once you get to the other side, you're going to be able to be a guiding light to somebody else.
Gotcha. So with your faith, and I know we said the positive, but where's your faith right now? From where you started to where you are right now, sitting across from me. I mean, honestly, we ask patients on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the worst, or let's just say 0 to 10, 10 being the highest. Where's your faith right now with God?
I'm going to be completely honest. Because of my analytical mind, I think too much. I overthink.
Yeah.
So if we put it on the scale, I'm going to say 8.
Gotcha.
Because there's just some things I'm still having a hard time getting understanding of.
I understand.
But let's say back then, before that, it was probably at a 4.
Gotcha.
So that going from 4 to 8 is bigger than you actually think.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because even from 8 to 9, like there's some people out there with faith that is absolutely insane. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
And but I feel like each and every year, God is building me up to go even higher.
Yeah.
And God is constantly showing me things. God is so good.
Yes, he is.
He's so good.
Yes, he
the
is.
things that I've seen, the things that I've gone through, the people that he's healed, he is so good.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He really is. Man, I'm telling you, from first meeting you as our IT, then here you are, entrepreneur, doing your own thing. God done healed you from all of this. From there to now, I'm telling you, I'm so proud of you. I really am. And I know everybody who knows you has to be proud of you. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because you stepped out on faith and you honestly letting God lead you.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you say an 8. That's what you say in your analytical mind. But honestly, to step out on faith and do the things that you're doing right now, it got to be a 10, Anthony. I'm so serious. To me, that's just to me. But I'm going to let you have your 8. But to me, it looks like a 10. But definitely proud of you. So honestly, I feel like our paths have to cross, because I feel like, this one lady that we know, Angela, she always tells me iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
And I think that sometimes our paths cross to do just that, right?
Absolutely.
Where I fall down, you help me get up, whatever the case may be, and this is what we do. But I'm very grateful that I met you. Very grateful that God put you into my life for real as one of my really good friends.
I appreciate that.
And I thank you for coming on today to share your story.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes, it's been amazing. I'm happy. I never knew the full story, but this is an amazing story. All right, guys. So we're at the end of our podcast. Anthony has already given us a positive. Honestly, just all the things that he said, let's just take it to heart. Let's just open our minds and our hearts and, listen to that. And even if you're not battling cancer, even if you're not being diagnosed with cancer, maybe there's something else going on in your life. Maybe there's something else that you're dealing with. Maybe, you're depressed or have anxiety, and whatever it is that you're battling, everybody's dealing with something, but the end result in what's going to keep us through and what's going to get us through is God. We're going to have to in our faith, we have to make sure that we're activating our faith. We have to make sure that we are definitely tugging on the hem of God's garment. We have to make sure that we're doing all those things, because if a lady can touch the hem of his garment and was made whole, baby, you hear me? Just speak it. Have faith. Do all the things that we need to do. So until the next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe it out, tell everybody you know. Please watch this episode. And if there's any questions you have for Anthony, please leave those in the comments. But honestly, if you want to share your story with us on today, we will definitely have a form that you can definitely hit up or print out or fill out or whatever the case may be. We would love to hear your story and share it on our platform. Until the next one, peace.